I feel today? Ask yourself this question.
What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We ready! We ready! We ready! We ready! And don't do that! And don't do that!
When I step on the field, I send one message. And this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it.
It's gonna be football now! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's hunt now! Let's hunt now! Let's go! Let's hunt! We ready! And don't do that! And don't do that!
We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this, how like we the Miami Heat of football. Yap, 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 yap. The bottom line is you got to buckle up your chin strap. It's embarrassing. Yap, 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 yap. Don't disrespect the game like that. There's too much crying from them. He's a man. They can be hit just like us. He's a man. You already make the big money. He's a man. Don't cry when you step on the field, man. That's war out there. When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. Oh, my bad, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world.
What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! We ready! And don't do that! And don't do that! It's a wrap. Game over.
Nah, this game ain't over. It's just getting started, and baby, it's hot up in here, up in here. Listen, this ain't football, but I'm telling you, I got somebody that goes hard like Ray in the paint. Kris Gardner. We got one of the best in the business, Doc, right in between us. It's none other than Tamecka Dixon, two-time, not one, but two-time WNBA All-Star, WNBA champ, three-time WNBA All-Star. And she stole Player of the Year from the Big 12 from a good friend of mine. So we got to get it in. Tamecka Dixon, how you doing?
I'm good, AJ. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Now, I don't know if you remember me and Kris, but we covered you when you were playing briefly with the Comets.
Yes, right.
And, we enjoyed every bit of it. Now, you only played a limited time, had some injuries and what have you. But, we were glad to have you.
It was good to be there. I mean, to play for a storied franchise like the Comets, man, it was an amazing experience. Even in the short time that I was there, to be able to play with the legendary Van Chancellor and, some of the people who were still there, like Cheryl and Tina.
Yeah.
It was a great experience in spite of, me having, the injury bug throughout my Comets career.
Right. Now, Tamecka, just real quick, right off the bat, and I know Kris got some questions for you too. Right off the bat, when you see a team like Houston break off the first four WNBA championships, and then you got yours with the Sparks after that, 2 in a row, how did that feel? What did it feel like to play against Houston, and what did it feel like to finally get yours?
Oh man, it's interesting you asked that question because I can recall in '97, us being the front runners to win the championship. Actually, the first couple of years, and then we had, there were several things. We went through 5 coaches in 5 years, and it was just a number of different things that happened. And we didn't get it done, but Houston seemed to be able to put it together so quickly, and I think it was a testament to the players that they actually had. But to be able to get over that hump after they won the first 4 and win the next 2 was a tremendous, tremendous feeling. I can't even explain that feeling.
Man, I can only imagine. I mean, check it out. 6 years, 2 teams were the only 2 that won the chip.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Just crazy.
Go ahead, Kris. I know you want in, man. I'm just excited because
man,
Dixon, man.
I'm just wondering how messy I should be. I mean,
I told we were going to get her a little bit. I said, we're going to be.
No, it's not really against Tamecka because, I mean, first, Just first things first. Just describe for the folks who are new, youngsters who didn't watch WNBA early, the rivalry between the Comets and the Sparks. What was that like?
We hated each other.
We
We hated each other, and it showed every single time we played.
No cap.
You know, it was, the stars would come out, the NBA guys would come out, to those games and sit in the front row and, just talk mess to us, when we were in Houston, and they'd come to LA, and the same thing had happened with our Lakers guys. So, I mean, it was when you talk about rivalry in the WNBA, I think we were like the first real true rivalry, the league had. And we hated it. We wanted blood every time we played each other. So for me to leave LA and go to Houston,
right?
It was crazy, but it happened.
now, listen, you ain't got to give no names, but did you have to make peace with anybody when you got in the locker room, or did you have to check anybody when you got in the locker room?
It was cool. It actually was cool. I think it was a changing of the guard at the time. My assistant coach, who was my assistant in LA, had taken over the assistant
Carlene
coach
Thompson.
Carlene. Right. Yeah. So I think she kind of bridged the gap a little bit, and it made it a little easier for me to come on over there once she got there. So that definitely helped me a lot, in the locker room.
Yeah, we got two-time WNBA champ Tamecka Dixon joining us here on the lunch break. Throwback Thursday, powered by JM&E. We're broadcasting live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3. And y'all always know Throwback Thursday means Kris Gardner from Houston Roundball Review. Congratulations are in order. Your high school in New Jersey recently retired your number. Talk about that experience and what it's like to be celebrated in the place that you grew up and did your thing.
It was amazing to be able to go back, and that's kind of where it all started for me. So to be able to go back and just share some of those experiences with the young girls who are coming up, in that city now, was amazing. And just to see some old faces that had kind of followed my career, followed me, helped me out, assisted me throughout my high school career, and always been a support system for me. So it was home. It was home for me. It was fun to be able to go back and, just reunite and reconnect with some of those faces.
Yeah. Kris, I'm finna really be messy and put her on the spot. You grew up on the East Coast. You played on the West Coast. You came down to the South Coast. And then you went up to the Midwest and played ball up there. Who plays the toughest brand of basketball? Don't give me no political answers.
Listen, I got to say East Coast because I'm from there. Okay. I'm homegrown, I'm an East Coast girl. So, growing up on the playgrounds in, New York, New Jersey, playing in some of those times. And so I think, I gotta, I'm a little biased because I'm from here.
Right.
But definitely I'd say the East Coast.
Yeah. You literally have been all over the United States, so you can give us the real deal. Right. One more question. I'm gonna let Kris in. How'd you get from New Jersey to Kansas?
So very easy. Marion Washington, who was at Kansas when I was there, was just legend. She was a legend to me. When I came out of high school, I wanted to play for a Black coach. That was important to me. And at the time, when you think about Black coaches who were heading premier programs, it was Vivian Stringer and it was Marion Washington. Yeah. So, both of them were on my list, high on my list. Vivian Stringer was at Iowa at the time. Okay. And Coach Washington was at Kansas. But I think the connection with Coach Washington when she came into my home visit, she just, fit right into my family. It was an instant connection. And then when I went out and had my college visit, my campus visit, the connection that I had with the team and, all the support that they provided me with when I went out there, it was just, it felt like it was meant to be, it's supposed to be. So I chose Kansas.
Okay. Hey, Kris, I think that decision would have been harder if Coach Stringer would have been at Rutgers, because that would have been just right down the road from home.
I get that all the time.
Yeah. So what's the answer? If Coach Stringer had been at Rutgers at the time, where would you have gone?
It would have been tougher. because people were dying for me to stay home anyway. So that would have made it a lot tougher. But I think I wanted to get out of Jersey for a little while. I wanted to kind of experience life outside of New Jersey.
Mhm.
So I think it still would have been the University of Kansas in Marion, Washington because of that. Because I was just ready to leave the state for a little while.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Kris.
Tamecka, it's basketball players today are kind of like full circle because you said it. You wanted to play for a black coach. You would come out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
That seemed to not be a reason for a few years for young ladies choosing college coaches, but now with Dawn Staley's success, it seems more and more that is a reason. Just what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like to think I'm a trailblazer in that, right? But I think now, also the girls have way more options too. To be able to choose that. There's a lot more, college coaches that are of African American descent. So when you have more options, obviously, you can make those choices accordingly. But like I said, when I was coming up, there weren't very many. But the ones that were there were solid. And it was a real choice for me to make. I wanted to do that. I wanted to, play for a black coach. And I didn't make, I didn't make any. And I had the Tennessees, I had the Connecticut's, I had the big time programs, but that was important for me.
Yeah. What's interesting is, and I want to just kind of make sure I say this the right way. There's a lot of attention on HBCUs now, even though it's always been good quality education, good quality, athletics, good quality environment. I mean, the HBCU experience is like none other. And you see a lot of top flight athletes that are choosing HBCUs over PWIs, Power Fives, you name it. And they play some pretty good basketball down there at Jackson State.
Right.
Seeing that landscape today, how do you think things have changed from when you made your choice to how some of these ladies, like you said, have more choices than they did before?
That's a great question. And when I was coming out of high school, I would have given it a real look, but they didn't really recruit me. And I think it's because they didn't have, when I spoke to HBCU coaches after the fact, they said they really didn't want to waste their resources on somebody who they didn't think they could potentially get. And because I was at that, that elite level, they didn't know whether it was a reality that they could possibly get me. I had one HBCU come into my house, and that was Howard at the time. And I really loved the coach as well. So I gave it a real look, but I think now HBCUs can go into these homes and really have a real shot at getting some of the top level talent because, athletes are more conscious of they want certain things, and that's a real thing. And, if I had more options, I would have really took a real look at it. But like I said, today's athlete has a lot more opportunities to really, really take a hard look at that.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, I got to put this up because your friend is getting in. She said you would not have had that Mizzou experience if you didn't choose KU. How tough was Erica Cross at Mizzou? Because y'all were neck and neck for that Big 12 Player of the Year. And from what I heard and everything I read, you edged her out for it.
Yeah, E was tough, man. I mean, total respect for her game. When we talk about the hate we have for the Houston Comets, the Jayhawks had that same hate for Mizzou. And it was a real battle. They hated us, we hated them, and it was going into hostile territory every time we went in there. But she was legit. She was tough, and she got it done. And I remember, and she put up numbers against us. Couldn't stop her. You can only hope to contain her.
Watch out.
It was definitely some tough matchups and some fun ones.
Yeah. Well, let me just give you this little nugget. When I talk to her about you, her eyes start switching. So you still in there rent free. You still in there rent free. Hey, E, what's up? Go ahead, Kris.
Tamecka, For folks who did not see you hoop, because she gave folks buckets. Okay, just describe your game for people who never saw you play.
I was just I bought it. Every time I hit the floor, and I kind of had a little East Coast swag with me. If you think about if you think about the prototypical East Coast guard, it's just that gritty, can handle the rock. Get wherever they wanted to. The knock on East Coast guards is we don't have jump shots, but I developed that. Okay. I was able to develop that over my time. But yeah, just I was whenever I got in between those lines, it was a battle. And I was normally a lot of times not gonna go home the loser.
That's what's up. Now, did you play with your male counterparts a lot in high school and in college? Because I hear a lot of the ladies say, "Hey, listen, I balled with the fellas, and I balled like I was supposed to be out there." How about you?
Yeah, that was me too. That's how I grew up. When I was growing up, my father was a pretty good basketball player in his own right. He was drafted into the NBA and had a nice long career overseas internationally. But when he would come home during the summer, he would take me around with him. So I was practicing with his teams and doing all of those things. But I grew up, I didn't play organized basketball with girls until high school.
Oh, wow.
I played organized basketball, all boy leagues up until high school.
That's what's up.
And yeah.
I hate to do it.
That was like real legitimate discussions about should I play high school boys basketball, but
really,
it never really got to that. Yeah, it was real discussions. But yeah, so that's how I grew up. So for me,
she could hoop, man. She could hoop.
I know. But the fact that when I hear you say discussions, I feel like parents were involved, coaches were involved. All of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a thing. I decided like, nah, that's probably not going to be the path. Because I was at that time I started playing AAU ball and things like that. So I wanted to transition onto the girls' side. But yeah, I grew up, legitimately up until my freshman year in high school, I played organized ball all with boys.
I hate to do it. I got to take a quick break. When we come back, there's two things I want to make sure we discuss. I want to get your take on today's WNBA, especially what we just saw out of that playoff series out west. That was crazy. Yeah. But anyway,
it was.
On that. And then Kris and I both have a passion for equity in sports. And we want to talk about the diversity or the differences between the women's game tournament and the men's game tournament. And I want to get your true thoughts on it. So it's a safe space. We won't send this to the NCAA or anything like that. But anyway,
well, you tell it.
I love it. That's how we get down on the lunch break. We'll be right back. Tamecka Dixon, Kris Gardner, myself on Throwback Thursday, powered by JM&E. We're streaming live on Roku, courtesy of BS3 TV. We'll be right back right after this.
If you're looking for a sports program that gives you the flavor.
Washington Commanders? Really?
This whole thing stinks to high heaven.
That pulls no punches.
Thuggish act by a thuggish actor.
That gives you some humor.
Praise everything LeBron does and never criticize it.
If you want a show that gives you good times, then this is that show. BS3 Network proudly presents.
I am Cole Johnson, and welcome to
Cole Sports with a Z. Every Friday on Patreon, and every Saturday on YouTube, Spreaker, and all other outlets.
Man, I can't tell you how excited that my little video media and entertainment company has been given the opportunity to be a part of the life story of four-time Olympian Sharifa Barksdale. We're going to be finishing that production up. In fact, I'll be in Harriman, Tennessee, filming with her mom, 90-something years old, and the rest of her family and friends. We'll be filming that and getting it ready for release in the winter of this year. But man, I tell you what, it's going to be a great deal because she's got a great story. So again, Dr. Sharifa Barksdale, thank you for using JM&E Films. We're glad to be a part of the story. Tamecka, we got to tell your story.
Oh yes, let's talk about it.
Listen,
No doubt.
Don't sell everything to Spielberg and them. You know, listen, we got a camera or two that works.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We got Tamecka Dixon joining us. She is a two-time WNBA champ. She is a three-time WNBA All-Star. She was all NCAA team. You were on the all team in the NCAA, and you were the player of the year in the Big 12. So we're so glad to have you making time for us on the show. Kris Gardner, y'all know, been doing this thing for a long time. Local name, global perspective. So we're glad to have you as well. Tamecka, the WNBA today, in your opinion, is
evolving. It's going in the right direction, and that's on the court and off. They made some tremendous strides off the court. New collective bargaining agreement. Girls are getting paid a lot more. There's different things within that agreement that are really geared towards helping the female athlete, which I really like. And then on the court, the game is evolving. Girls are playing a lot younger. We didn't have the luxury of seeing us play when we were growing up. Our role models most of the time were men because that's all we saw. So this athlete that is in the WNBA today grew up with the WNBA. Grew up watching it, so played at a younger age, started playing, evolving earlier, was introduced to training and all of these things earlier. It's just evolving the game. And I think it's in a great position to take off and do great things. And I really like the direction of it, where it's going.
Yeah. Kris, go ahead.
Yeah.
Tamecka, I thought about this. I think about it a lot. Attendance wise, it's not the same. When you were playing early years of WNBA, Comet games, Sparks games, it seemed to me there were more fans in the building than there are now across the league, despite the talent level,
right?
1 through 12 being better. What are your thoughts on that?
I think so. I mean, you're looking at it now. You look at the playoffs. Obviously, they've been packing it out, but during the regular season, there have been some games, and I don't really know, what the reason is behind it. I know we were really, really grassroots. When we started out, we were touching the community left and right. We were out there. We were promoting. Because it was all new and we wanted to get people in the building, to support. But I think you have to have a level of grassroots because it's still, even though we're 26 years in, 27 years in, it's still a fairly new, professional league. Really, it is. When you look at year 20 in the NBA, the evolution of when they started in year 20 is they still were flying commercial. I'm talking to Coop, Michael Cooper, that is, about the early Lakers, Showtime Lakers, and they were flying commercial in the 80s. And, there were still a lot of things that they weren't getting. And this is, in the 80s. So, when you think about it, it's still a fairly new league and you still kind of have to have a grassroots approach to it. Even though you could see now, that the ownership groups and things like that are more serious and really know that, there's an economic advantage now to having a WNBA team. And, you could really, really put some dollars behind it and it's going to give you a return on your investment now. These things are starting to happen. So I like the I like the direction of it, but there are still some things that they can do better, and we can continue to grow the sport.
Like what? Put you on the spot. Like what?
That's good. That's good.
Like going, like grassroots, like approaching it as if it's a year 5 league, and getting these players out there and really, really promoting it. Putting some more dollars behind ticket sales. Get some people in there that can really market and promote this thing.
That's true.
There are a number of different ways. The idea and the difference is, you got to figure out if you really value it. What would you put into it if you really, really value what you have.
Yeah.
And you'd put everything into it. So you have to approach it that way. It's a business, and you got to approach it that way.
Yeah. Tamecka Dixon joining us here on Throwback Thursday, the lunch break powered by JM&E. We're streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, joining us. Tamecka, I can't believe you've been gone since 2010?
2011. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's a long time. So
yes,
I still enjoyed watching you play. I know you probably felt like it was time to walk away. Clearly you did.
Mm-hmm.
When you're so good at something, sometimes it's hard for you to watch it.
Right.
Who do you enjoy watching today?
In today's WNBA?
Yes.
It's funny. When I walked away from it, Like, I didn't watch it for a few years because it's funny, even though I walked away because I knew when it became hard for me to like prepare, on a day in and day out basis, when that became hard and that was just a chore for me, I knew it was time to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
But I still felt like I had like maybe 2 or 3 good years left in me. I really did. So it was hard for me to watch it, knowing that I really felt like I could be out there with them. So I had to step away from it completely for a little while. It took a while for me to be able to watch it.
Wow.
But now I could sit on the couch, and even though I'm coaching from the couch,
okay.
I could watch a good game. But there's some players out there that I really, really like. The Aces. I like Chelsea's game.
Yeah.
I like Chelsea's
Definitely.
Grays game a lot.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them on Jackie Young I like.
Yeah.
Chicago, I like Kalia Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
I really like her game. Nice athletic build. She gets it done. Big girls that I really like, and she's like a unsung hero for me, but I love Emma Meeseman's game.
Okay.
Chicago Sky. I like her. If I had her, give me her in Kansas. If I had her at Kansas, it'd be over with.
That's all right.
But there's some good time. I mean, there's some really, really, across the board. I can go, on any team and pick 1 or 2 players that I really like.
Yeah, that's good. I can relate with all of them. I noticed you started off with your guard mates.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Players like her. Yeah.
Oh yes. The point guard. That's what they call it.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Kris.
I got to ask you, Tamecka, when you were playing the WNBA, what player or players you just got hyped for, or gave you the business you wanted to get at? We talk about team rivalries. Who was your player rival?
Well, you got to start with the Comets. That Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Swoops, that combination.
Yeah.
Against like myself and Mawadi Mabiko on the wings in LA.
That was fun.
That
was a great matchup, man.
Those battles used to be epic.
Yeah.
So I have to start there. I really, really appreciated Andrea Stinson's game over in Charlotte. I thought she got it done. That's a lot. Deanna Nolan in Detroit.
Tweety was nice. Yep.
Yeah.
Tweety don't get a lot of the respect. A lot of people don't talk about Tweety, but Tweety was tough.
Yeah.
Man, like I said, I could go down a line with some hitters. Kim Williams from Utah, Kimberly, Marie Ferdinand, she was tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Edna Campbell. Just I mean, just quality guards.
Yeah.
Just tough, solid.
Yeah.
You remember what's her name? Was it Brandy Reed at Phoenix?
Brandy was tough. Yeah.
AJ, I gotta say this, man. Brandy Reed, probably the first time Phoenix played the Comets in Houston, she gave Cheryl a business.
Oh, Brandy was tough.
I had never seen anybody give Swoops the business like that.
Yeah.
I was like, man, she is legit.
Yeah.
Boy, it was something else, man.
Now, just
Yeah,
Cheryl,
Brandy was tough.
I know you might be too, we real cool, Cheryl. He said that.
She can call me. She got my number. She can call me too. I said it. Yeah, I said it.
But I'm gonna say this, Chris. That's like AI saying he crossed up Jordan. You feel me? He crossed Jordan up that one time, but Jordan probably had 40 that night.
Yeah, she did her thing too. Shirley answered the challenge like, "Oh, you got like that, huh? Oh, but it was just something to see her go at it like that. Like, wow."
Yeah. No, Brandy was tough though. Yeah. Bridget Pettis was another one on that Phoenix team that was tough. Yeah.
Real quick, I want to throw this in there because it leads to one of my questions, putting you back in the commissioner's seat. Keith Hennick, longtime listener, said, I would love to have a WNBA team in Austin. It's all Longhorns all the time. If you were the commissioner of the league, would you expand now?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, when you have a legitimate problem when you have first round picks being cut, like legit can't make a squad, can't make the team. Yeah, you got an overflow of talent and not enough teams. So you have to really, really examine that. And I think the league is in a position now where you can like look at that. There's a lot of interest all over the country now. Ownership groups all over the country now that are, really looking into this as a legitimate business, model. So you have the interest now, and I think now is the time to strike while the iron is hot.
Yeah. I'm gonna skip my break because we got a couple things I don't want to hold you all day because I know you got stuff to do.
No problem.
There's a lot of talk about the ladies having to play overseas, especially what has happened now with Houston's own Brittany Griner. Kris and I both have covered her since she was in high school. And to see her in this situation right now is just, I mean, it's tough, especially for her family, for her spouse, and that. But now we're hearing the ladies that are planning to go over to Russia to play.
Yeah, and what's interesting is, and first, before we even go into that, Houston need a team again too.
Oh, that's a travesty.
They need to bring Comets back.
Man.
But to go into that, what's interesting is Brittany actually played on the club that I played on when I was in Russia. So I have kind of an inside perspective on it. And it's tough. It really is a tough situation. But if I was a player today, looking at my overseas opportunities and figuring out if I'm going to go over there and play, I'm not going to Russia. Not right now.
Yeah, just not right this minute.
Nah.
You can out and then call me.
Yeah. Straighten it all out. Bring my girl home. Give it some time. Let it breathe a little bit. Maybe next year I'll go over. You know what I'm saying? Let me see how it all play out. But I ain't going over there. I'm not going over there. Not this year. I can't even believe that people are realistically looking at the idea of going over there and they in the middle of a war. You got Brittany, it's too much going on over there to even really consider that.
Yeah. Last count, it was about 10 ladies talking about.
And some fellas too.
And some fellas.
I'm not going. I wouldn't go.
Do we need to do better by y'all? Do we need to do better like maybe a G League that pays some money or pay more on the WNBA level? How do we have those conversations without and y'all don't say nothing? I'm the one who gets in trouble all the time without the ignoramuses getting involved. Well, if you want more money, then play better games. Shut up. Just we talk.
The game is the game is where it should be. The game, if you had an opportunity to look at that, that Vegas Aces Seattle Storm series.
Yeah.
High level basketball. You can't ask for much. much else.
Instant
So
classics. Instant classics.
right. So the
Yeah.
entertainment value is there. The game is where it should be. Now, like I said, you have to build up to certain things.
Okay.
And like, when I had the comparison with, Lakers of the 80s and flying, it's a build up to certain things. So you can't expect, to go from $0 to $1 million right away.
Got
you
it.
know but like I said, I like the direction of it. I think we're going in the right direction. Sometimes that's a slow process, but you got to get the buy-in before you're able to do the real things that you need to do financially for the league to sustain itself, because you still have to have a league that's going to sustain itself,
Right. That's true.
as you're expanding and growing.
Right.
So, I think it's going in the right direction. I think $1 million contracts are coming. I think they really are. But it's a process and it's a build up to that.
Gotcha.
All right, I got to be messy, brother. Can I be messy?
Do it.
Tamecka, how would you describe your treatment, your teammates' treatment when you were on the Comets those years here from management?
I didn't, and I was with the Comets, when the dispersion happened, when the breakup happened, but I didn't see I wasn't on that side of it, so I didn't get a chance to see like the messiness of it. I got to the arena one day and they were like, this is what's gonna, we never really knew. It was like we were caught off guard, completely off guard. And yeah, so from a management perspective, I thought that they treated us well.
Okay.
Up until, you just didn't know that you was gonna be, whether you were gonna be coming back to the team or not, and then you found out. Just, it's probably like everybody else found out, on ESPN, looking at the bottom of the ticker, like, damn.
That's what Tina told me. Tina said the same thing. She found it on TV on ticker.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of and then you had the conversation, but it was like we found out like the rest of the world. We just the way they did that kind of was crazy. But up until that point, I didn't have any problems with management. Money was being paid.
Okay.
Contracts were being honored. I didn't have a problem with money or anything like that. So I have to say that. But yeah, just the way it happened was crazy.
Yeah. Let's shift that over into the college level. There has been documented disparities between the women's game, the men's game. You played at a storied storied program in Kansas on the men and the women's side. Talk about your experience, and then talk about just what you've seen and what could be done better. Because Kris and I both say this: a lot of things that happen are unforced errors. Like, you did not have to make that mistake. So let's hear from your perspective, from Kansas on up to now.
Right. I think what made my coach so legendary and so GOAT-like is she fought like for us. There was nothing that Roy Williams was going to have that Marion Washington's girls didn't have. Like, we had it all, and it's because she was in that room, like, fighting for us. So from that perspective, in Kansas, I thought we were treated right, and I think it was because she had a voice and a powerful one. So we didn't see any disparities, even to the point now. I just was back at Kansas in February, and the level of treatment that they receive now is just oh my God. I'm talking charter flights, the whole nine. Like, we didn't, that wasn't even a thing for us. We were just happy to, sit in the front on a commercial flight. But now they got charter flights. Now they got all of these things that second to none.
Yeah.
But I think it was a testament to, definitely to what Marion Washington built at Kansas and how she fought, for women across the board. And then, today it's disheartening to see that, those conversations are still being had, or those fights are still being had. But I think what makes it what makes it great today is the platforms that these athletes have. You know, the social media.
Yep.
You know, they're coming out and speaking out about it. You know, they're making the world see that what these disparities are. You got the Dawn Staley speaking out about everything. You know, coaches coming out and speaking out about it. I think that's going to help change, you know, the way things are, because you can't hide it anymore. You know,
Right.
everybody, you can now you can have open discussions about it. And when people talk about it, when you get a certain amount of people behind that force, you know, you NCAA gonna have to change some things, and you see that happening. So, you know, I think, you know, today's athlete, the way they speak out, and even the coaches, the way they're speaking out, I think it's a testament to, you know, some of the you know, the older coaches who really didn't have that platform to speak before privately, you know, with their universities about things that needed to happen on the women's side.
Yeah. No, I love it. I agree.
Mhm.
100%. Go ahead, Kris.
No, I'm just that makes a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
But one thing that struck me, I think it was this week, during one of the broadcasts, Latana Robinson touched on it about the connection that still to this day, WNBA team need to have that grassroots connection with their college team, the local college team. And I'm like, I said that 20 years ago with U of H and the Comets.
Right.
So that still is an issue now.
Right.
So that's where we are.
Even the grassroots and when you talk about grassroots, the WNBA, and I can, you know, speak about it because I am a part of it, needs to reach back to some of these former WNBA players.
Yeah, true.
And get them involved and get them engaged. Because if you're not that elite WNBA player, or what's considered an elite WNBA player, or the person who got all the accolades and all the recognition, a lot of people don't speak about, you know, some of the talent that's come through. I think the WNBA should do a better job of reaching back to some of those athletes who have given their time and their effort and their, you know, hard work and dedication to the league, and have some things that involve some of the former players as well. So when you talk grassroots, they got to get back to that as well.
Yeah. Tamecka Dixon, 2-time WNBA champ, 3-time WNBA All-Star, just awesome. Okay, I can officially say it. I already knew it, but now I can officially say it. What are you doing? What do you got coming up? What should people be looking for out of Tamecka Dixon next?
So I'm an entrepreneur now. I actually owned and operated an Avis and Budget car rental franchise for 10 years.
All right.
I just sold it last year, mid-COVID.
Rent me a car from Avis. 2 cars, one for me.
So I was doing that, and now I got some irons in the fire. But I, you know, I'm a businesswoman, so I'm always looking to do some things on the entrepreneurial side. And still, you know, and I also give back a lot to my community. I do a lot of camps and clinics and things like that in the community to help the kids. So I enjoy that. That's my passion.
Yeah. Let me ask you a real question, because I started off in computer programming. I was in the basement of AT&T for a long time, writing code and letting somebody else check over it.
All right.
Why don't we get entrepreneurial tracks in career days and things like that? I mean, I can speak for the ones that I've been on. Very rarely do you have an entrepreneur come in and say, hey, listen, you can do that. You can be the doctor. You can be the this. You can be that. But there's also this opportunity.
Why don't we do that?
Why don't we, and how can we? I should say.
I think we should. I think that's a lane that should be touched a lot more. I think we should do that. I mean, even for me, you know, my path was kind of athlete. Yeah. But I really loved building things, like building businesses. And once I got into it, I really realized that that's what I liked. That's my lane. So I think let's talk about it, AJ. We should do it.
Yeah,
Me
and
and you.
now Todd will tell you, Kris will tell you. I'm one of those folks, I don't like to just put it out there for other people. If it's not there, I'm trying to find a way to make it happen. So let's collab, let's connect, because I know your name will open doors. I've got a few relationships around here, and I told you I lived in Jersey for a while, so I ain't afraid to knock some doors over there. But let's do that. Let's do that.
No, I think it's definitely needed, and these kids today need to know that the options are of plenty.
Right.
And I think if you can open the kids' eyes early to some of the opportunities, they can achieve great things.
Absolutely. Tamecka, again, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Tell everybody where they can find you, follow you, kind of keep up with the amazing Tamecka Dixon.
So I'm on Instagram at The Real Tamecka Dixon, Facebook as well at Tamecka Dixon. And yeah, that's it. Just make sure you got The Real Tamecka Dixon, because it's a lot of fake pages on Instagram from what I hear.
No greater compliment than when somebody chooses to copy you.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's crazy.
That's all right. Big Mike, one of my brothers like no other, says, I got relationships. Just let me know. So that brother can open some doors. So listen.
All right now, Mike. Let's talk about it, Mike.
Let's spark some interest now. So let's follow up on that. Kris Gardner, final remarks.
I'm going to tag her Twitter account when I post a link to this show so everybody can see and check it out and watch this great conversation. This has been a blast, man. I always love being on the lunch break and seeing Tamecka talk about WNBA back in the day, aging myself. So she didn't age, but I aged myself.
And me.
So it's all good.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kris, and thank you, AJ, for having me. It's been a blast.
Have a good one, Tamecka. God bless you here.
Thank you. Same to you all.
All right, Tamecka Dixon, y'all. We are so glad to have her on the show today. I mean, she is just absolutely amazing. I got to thank my friend Erica Cross for making this happen, because, man, that's strong, bro. When she retired, she was only one of 4 of the originals from the WNBA when she left, and obviously, we that's done. Was Sue Bird part of that original? No, she was not. So. Again, we cycling on the next crew. So great group of women, man. Just absolutely amazing group of women. And you were right. That rivalry between the Sparks and the Comets was just fun stuff, brother. It was amazing.
It was great. I was part of it. I was a season ticket holder the first 3 years, and then I got credentialed. And God bless William Stickman with the Chronicle. Stickman took me under his wing. And I remember Van Chancellor asked Stick about me. He said, Stick, we know about that Kris Gardner kid there, Stick. and Stick said, he's legit, Van. You can trust him.
Yeah.
And Van pulled me into the circle. And I was made then, man. So, that helped me. And he helped me get my first really credential in San Antonio as well, because I didn't really want to go to San Antonio.
Yeah.
But he took care of me. So this is part of me, man. Yeah. So folks who wonder about my affection for the W goes back a long, long way.
Right.
Okay. So, and I love to have a team back here in Houston, but got to have somebody with the pockets to make it successful.
I'm not going to call the name of Hilton Koch out. I'm not going to call him out. I'm going to leave him alone. But brother, you could have handled that a whole lot better. And I know it wasn't just him. I know it was his negotiation with the league, but at some point he should have reached out for some help locally. And that franchise should have never left this.
And the league should have too, because we had no idea that there were problems, how deep the problems were. So, and Tamecka touched on it. Tina Thompson said it to me. They found out like we found out on a news scroller going across the TV screen.
Michelle Snow said the same thing, man. And you saw Carlene Thompson. She actually, tried to litigate to try and address some of the things that didn't happen as a result of that. Man, I tell you what, I like what she said about the WNBA, man. It's in good hands. It's in good hands, because that Seattle Aces series was just ridiculous, man. And Sue Bird walking away when she walked away, but Asia, man, she has that thing locked in.
Asia Wilson has not missed a minute, or did not miss a minute, games 2, 3, and 4 of the series.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's resting now.
Yeah.
Her MVP self, her Defensive Player of the Year self.
I was gonna say
Congrats to her.
MVP,
Yep.
Defensive Player of the Year, and got to give some love to her sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. That's a real deal right there. That's a real deal.
And I won't mention the thing about her Instagram post. I'll tell you about that later. But it's great. But I want to say this, talking about Career Day. Years ago, I was invited to be in a Career Day early in my Houston Roundball review, talking to like 3rd or 4th graders, So I'm just starting out, man. These little kids, I could have told them the sky was red. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they just looked up to me.
Yep.
And I was like, because I covered the Rockets.
Yeah.
They're like, wow.
Yeah.
You covered the Rockets? Wow.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just a little bit of inspiration, it was great for me.
Yep.
And I remember this. I was at a UH women's basketball game. Don't remember the opponent. Okay, don't remember the opponent. It was a kids' day where there was some, like a team from Crosby Middle School, something like that, was invited, sitting in the first few rows. And so they dribbled, doing one timeout breaks and everything. After the game, I said to young ladies, so when's your next game? And they're like, whatever, Thursday, whatever. I said, okay, I'm gonna check y'all out. What? And they're like, yeah, whatever, man. I said, okay, just let me know when is it?
Mm-hmm.
When I walked into that gym, they were like, you showed up, you came. I said I was gonna be here, didn't I? So sat down on the pizza. They were just blown away, man. So you never know just a little bit of inspiration that you give somebody, man. So
no, that is true, and I really do. I want to connect with you. I want to connect with Big Mike, and definitely we'll reach back out to Tamecka and try and make that happen, man. I remember I went to one of those career days. I was a banker at the time, and I took money in there because that was my work product. So. Right. And what's interesting is the person that invited me said, I didn't invite you as a banker. I invited you as a radio personality. And I was just like, I'm just career day. And I had to realize radio was a true career. And I never made that mistake again. In fact, I started doing live broadcasts from the career day with the kids in their classrooms. And they were on the radio on KWWJ and KYOK and all that. And they loved that, man. So I think we can make a real impact. And I love that Tamecka said something that was just real. She had to get it out of her system before she could just sit there and enjoy it. And she's armchair coaching, but still, when she walked away, she had to get it out of their system. And I don't think a lot of fans realize that players have to do that sometimes. A lot of going on around Tom Brady right now. And he obviously chose to come back. And folks are reporting upon his marital issues. Man, that's not our lane. That is not our door to walk in and sit down and just observe as if, I get it. Journalists have to write stories. But, man, I got to tell you, I will never be that journalist who writes those kind of stories about some part of somebody else's life that I wouldn't want anybody writing about mine. So I just think that we got a whole lot that we can report on, we can talk about, we can bring, especially to young people. And I'm looking forward to that opportunity, man.
Agreed. And you and I still got the connection. You got to meet with him because this along the line, you just talked about having the kids on.
That's right.
On the show
Absolutely
back in the day. So
when you said that, I was like, oh, yeah. So talk about the event that we attended today earlier with the NCAA Final Four.
Yeah, we were at the Houston Public Library downtown, the Houston Sports Authority local committee Final Four, men's Final Four. Unfortunately, just men's Final Four because I'll be dead and gone before women's Final Four come to Houston. But anyway, I digress. Had their launch of the Read to the Final Four, playing words of Road to the Final Four. Read to the Final Four. Rita Hatchett spoke. A lot of kids, 300 kids were there. Third graders. Third graders, yep. But it's going to involve 11 school districts around the area. Almost 40,000 third graders will participate in a reading competition. So whichever school gets the most minutes read will advance. It's like a bracket kind of competition.
Yep.
And the winner will get to be invited to the men's Final Four on that semifinal Saturday.
I heard one of the speakers say that these kids will read millions of minutes during this campaign. And man, that gave me life, man. I love that.
Yeah. So, reading is important.
Yeah.
And it helps broaden your minds. So I'm not going to say what I want to say, but reading is important.
Yeah.
And the more you know, the more you grow.
Yep.
I'll just leave it at that. So just be careful and watch the folks who try to limit your growth.
Well, I'm like this. Listen, if I can't read it in your school, I can read it at my home. And I love programs like the Hype Freedom School that we have here in Houston. They are a summer program. They're outside of the school districts. Now I get why they don't want to be inside the school districts.
Mm-hmm.
They're outside of the school districts, and they make sure that over a 6-week period in the summer that kids are reading and they have books to take home to build their library. And man, I tell you what, if you're not going to teach me right, I know how to get out and get what I need to know that you don't want me to know. So again, great event today. Really looking forward to it. All right, man, we got to get ready to get out of here. Tell everybody where they can find you, follow you, and what you got going on. Kris Gardner.
Twitter, you see on the screen there, the HR Review, Houston Roundball Review on YouTube, Houston Roundball Review on Instagram, HoustonRoundballReview.com. We got our Folks Talking Sports show this coming Sunday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. One of my young Lions, Andy Yanez, will have his second post-game show after the Houston Cougars' second football game this Saturday. Let's Rage Cougs, also available on my Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. More than just hoops on my channel, folks.
Yep.
Brought it out. Texans, we got AD Moore. We'll have a recap of the Texans game on Sunday on the channel as well.
I think I'll be with him Sunday. I think
yes,
I got
sir.
an invitation to be with him on Sunday. Yes, sir.
And just, I'm going to throw a little pebble. AD got credentialed. Both of us got credentialed to cover Rice football, not just basketball, football as well, unlike Mama Mater. But anyway, but yes, HoustonRoundballReview.com, been around since 1994. The Houston Roundball Review, local name, global perspective.
Brother, I love you. I appreciate you, and I will talk to you soon.
Love you, man. Take care.
All right, Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review. Y'all know the deal. We love him. We got definitely going to keep rocking with him. He ain't going nowhere. All right, let me remind you, tonight is the night. Tonight is the night. If you want to be a part of the Lunch Break Weekly, Keeping Up with the Joneses, Pick'em Challenge, I got to have your picks this evening at 5:30 Central. 5:30 Central, give me tonight's game, and then give me all the Sunday games. And then for the Monday night game, give me who you think's going to win and the exact final score for both teams. So 27-15, 33-30, whatever you think the exact final score. That gives us multiple tiebreak opportunities because y'all find out if you haven't played this game before, y'all find out that we got some real good pickers. And they know how to pick these wins, but you got to have multiple tiebreakers to differentiate who's going to get $50 for each week. Somebody's going to win $50 for 18 weeks. And then at the end of the season, if you're in the top 6, you'll have a chance to compete for $500 cash. You want to do it. You don't have to use point spreads. You don't have to use anything. All you got to do is, I think this team, I think that team, I think that team. And then for the Monday night game, who you think is going to win and the exact final score for both teams. You can text them to me, 832-403-5005. 832-403-5005, or email me, aj@jonesmediaandent.com. aj@jonesmediaandent.com. One of the interns will send you a message back. Got them, or they'll tell you what else you need to do. You're in. You got to have them in by 5:30 Central. 4:30 in the mountain area, 3:30 on the West Coast, and 6:30 on the East Coast. All right. As always, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I truly do love you. There's nothing you can do about it except meet me here tomorrow for Freestyle Friday. All right, y'all. Y'all take care. Tamecka Dixon, great job. Love you much. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow.
Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. Today is Thursday, September 8th, 2022. Number 1, U.S. Senator from Georgia, Democrat Raphael Warnock announced Wednesday he will debate Republican opponent Herschel Walker with conditions. The first-term senator originally proposed 3 debates to be held in Atlanta, Macon, and Savannah, Georgia. The football star declined any of the October debate dates. Herschel Walker did agree to a Savannah debate, but with a different host of the event. And there's some question as to whether topics will be distributed to the candidates before the debate. Number 2, former President Barack Obama and forever First Lady Michelle Obama visited the White House Wednesday for the unveiling of their official White House portraits. This marked their first joint return since they left January 20th, 2017, and the return of a Washington tradition last celebrated 10 years ago. The artwork, which will hang inside the White House for decades to come, are the first official portraits added to the White House collection since then President Obama held an emotional bipartisan unveiling ceremony for former President George W. Bush and former First Lady Laura Bush in 2012. Number 3, health officials in many counties, but especially in Washington's most populous county, are urging people to get the new COVID-19 booster. Public Health Seattle and King County Health Officer has said in a briefing that even people who have had a booster shot should get all recommended doses for maximum protection. The new booster is the original COVID-19 vaccine formula plus the BA4 and BA5 spike protein components. Together, they give additional protection by targeting the Omicron subvariants that are more transmissible. Number 4, the Katy, Texas Independent School District is investigating inappropriate behavior made at a high school volleyball game. Monkey sounds were made towards members of the Peyto High School team. The Katy ISD called the behavior inappropriate and not in line with the values of the district. There's no information on whether the other school administrators have identified the students involved. Number 5, according to data published by the Suicide Prevention Resource Center, suicide attempts and deaths have been increasing disproportionately among Black adolescents compared to their white peers. Statistics show, although the overall rate of suicide in the U.S. decreased by 3% in 2020, the rate of suicide among people of color and young people increased. Read more about it in today's What You Need to Know newsletter, brought to you by our newest contributor and mental health advocate, Aprilette Russell. Welcome, Aprilette. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. When you lose your patience, you lose control. Join me today live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central with the one and only J. Anthony Brown, the debut of Aprilette Russell, and we will be joined by a very special guest, the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, Mayor Chokwe Lumumba. Thank you to our What You Need to Know partners, the American Heart Association and Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. To subscribe to my free daily newsletter, please visit SibylWilkes.com. Be informed, be empowered.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.